Hello, everyone, and welcome to our celebration of World Youth Skills Day 2026. I'm Friedrich Huebler, head of UNESCO-UNEVOC, and it's a pleasure to be with you as we connect with young leaders, educators, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and innovators from around the world. The theme for this year's World Youth Skills Day is Skills for a Shared Future. We are living through a time of rapid change where artificial intelligence is transforming the way we learn and work. We need new solutions for the climate crisis, and global challenges are testing our resilience. At the same time, there are many opportunities for young people to apply the skills they acquire in school and in the workplace to shape our future. Today's conversation will focus on three issues. First, technological resilience. Second, the green transition. And third, human-centered skills for peace. Before we begin, my question to all of you is, what is your most important skill for a shared future? To start with myself, my skill is optimism. I believe that positive change is always possible, and every time I meet young people like those joining us today, I'm reminded that the future is full of promise. Let's hear about their skills in a short video, and following the video, Boris Ghurzhy, a youth entrepreneurship advocate from Germany, will lead today's conversation. Thank you, and happy World Youth Skills Day.
My name is Boris Ghurzhy, and my skill is in AI.
My name is Samba, and my skill is leadership.
My name is Nurit Davidovic, and my skill is creativity.
So my name is Jin Tada from Japan. My skill is stewardship.
Hi, my name is Precious Azumo, and my skill is social cohesion.
Hello, my name is Phạm Nguyễn Đức Anh, and my skill is self-awareness.
My name is Aya, and my skill is lifelong learning.
My name is Didi Belk, and my skill is in communications.
My name is Juan Camilo. My skill is empathy.
Yeah, my name is Caroline Nyaga, and my skill is in green skills.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. My name is Boris. Thank you, Friedrich, for announcing me. I will be moderating quite some sessions today. I'm born and raised in Berlin, Germany, but I'm German-Ukrainian actually. And all over my academic and even high school career, I consider myself a youth entrepreneurship advocate. I worked for the German National Parliament. I worked for a youth NGO that advocates for more entrepreneurship with young people. And today I will be your host. And to officially open today's celebration, you just saw a video where every one of us young representatives shared what their skill for the future is. And now we would like to hear from you. What is your most important skill for a shared future? And for that, I would ask to open the Mentimeter. If you could share that. So please join the Mentimeter and tell us what your most important skill for shared future is. You can just go on menti.com or scan the QR code and type in the entry numbers. And I'm curious to hear what your future skill is. Respect, we have kindness. Interesting. The way this will work is that if multiple of you have selected the same word, it will be bigger, while the ones that only have been selected a few times will go smaller. So we will see what really the biggest skills are of the future that our participants find relevant. Empathy is a big one. It's the biggest one, but that's optimistic. Empathy is still winning, followed closely by critical thinking, as I can see, leadership, learning, resilience, I like that, emotional intelligence, understanding, respect, humanity. There's some really good ones. Okay. What else? Empathy. Okay, we have the clear. I think the clear winner. I'm not sure this is going to change. Since the beginning, empathy has been leading, and while you guys are still adding new skills for the future, I would love to already announce our first speaker who will be delivering the opening remarks. And so to officially open today's celebration, it's my pleasure to invite Boris Chakroun, Director for the Division for Policies and Lifelong Learning Systems at UNESCO. And now, Borhene, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Boris, and very good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, colleagues. And I can see that we have colleagues from Peru, United States, to Nepal, to India, to Italy, and that's the world. And I would like to thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the World Youth Skills Day, a moment that recognizes young people, educators, employers, and policymakers who are shaping a better future. Boris, colleagues, my skill is a global citizenship skill. That's about connecting local with global. That's about acting with values and purpose and take into account intercultural dialogue and cooperation and solidarity. And colleagues, skills are more than a pathway to employment. They are pathways to dignity, participation, and opportunity. When young people gain skills, they gain the ability to shape their own lives, also to contribute to their communities, economies, and societies. But we must recognize the challenge before us today. 1 in 5 young people globally is not in employment, education, or training. 272 million children are out of school. That represents not only a challenge, but an enormous opportunity that we need to leverage. And we need to create for young people the opportunity to leverage their talent, creativity, and build a shared future. And colleagues, the world is changing at an extraordinary pace. Artificial intelligence is transforming economies and societies, labor market, destroying jobs, creating new jobs, creating uncertainties, but offering new opportunities. Climate change is accelerating the transition to greener economies and are shaping the way we work, the way we live as well. Our young people must be prepared for a world that is evolving faster than our systems have traditionally been able to adapt to. This is why the skills for a shared future matters. The future will not be built by one country, one sector, or one generation alone. It will be built through cooperation, multilateralism across borders, cultures, communities, and intergenerational. And while technical skills remain essential, we also need the skills that bring us together. The ones that you are sharing with us: collaboration, creativity, empathy, resilience, global citizenship, as I mentioned. Colleagues, but today, many young people are still left behind. According to our ILO colleagues, 272 million young people are not in employment and training and in education. That's a challenge, and that's a task for all of us. And we know that millions remain excluded from learning opportunities, from decent jobs. And the truth is simple. Talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not. Our responsibility is to close that gap. This is why technical and vocational education and training is so important. TVET connects learning with opportunities. It gives people the skills they need to enter the world of work, adapt to change, and continue learning throughout life. Because today's success is not about learning once and using that knowledge forever. It's about ability to learn and learn and learn again. It's about lifelong learning pathways. And as we build these pathways, we must remember one thing that is central. Young people are not only the future, they are partners in building it today. Their voices must be heard. Their ideas must shape our decisions. Their ambition must guide our actions. And at UNESCO, we are committed to this work through initiatives such as the UNESCO-UNEVOC and the Global Skills Academy. We are strengthening partnerships to expand access to quality skills development and equip lifelong learning and learners with the skills they need for the future. We started the post-2030 consultation, and we started it with the consultation with young people. And this consultation will lead to preparation of the Global Education Futures Outlook Beyond 2030, a white paper on how we see education and skills development beyond 2030. And I invite you all to join that consultation. We have already 70,000 young people from over 100 countries that have participated in the consultation on the post-2030 agenda, and you must join us. And let me end with this. Skills are central to the right to education. The right to education today is the right to lifelong learning. So investing in skills is an investment in people. It is an investment in opportunity. It is an investment for building peaceful societies. And above all, it's an investment in the limitless potential of young people everywhere. And colleagues, together we can build a future where every young person has the chance to learn, to contribute, and to thrive. And you are part of that movement. Happy World Youth Skills Day. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Borhene, and I can only encourage everybody to take part in the consultation. That is really the best and most direct way to make your voice heard. And you already mentioned in your speech the importance of vocational training and education. And so it's my pleasure to next invite Oliver Diehl, who's the deputy head of division that deals with vocational training, if I understand it correctly, at the Federal Ministry of Education and Research in Germany, or as we call it, Bundesministerium für Bildung und Forschung. So excited to hear from you now.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and happy World Youth Skills Day. Yes, I'm talking to you from Bonn in Germany. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and to be honest, there's not much more that I could add of what Borhene Chakroun just said. Let me just reflect maybe on two things that are important for me. First, in the intro and the concept paper of this little workshop that we have today, I think there were some interesting ideas which I like to reflect. Skills are an individual investment for all of us, young and old, but they're also a collective responsibility. And I think that's a very important idea that drives my work. And my work here is to make the German system future ready. But that, of course, means we are only part of a bigger global community. And so my work, I do really understand that it's all interconnected. So the 100 million euro question would be, what are the future skills, the future ready skills that you, also myself, which should we acquire to really shape this future? And I think the consultation was already mentioned. It's so important to let your voices be heard. And that's your responsibility to make your voices be heard. So please be active and participate. And my responsibility, Friedrich's and Borhene's and all those who are a generation ahead and have responsibility today, to follow up on systems reform in the educational sector. Please push us, ask us, make us do our work, because that responsibility really lies in our hands until we give it up and hand it over to you. UNESCO is a main partner for the German government. We have been working together for many years, and we have a trust-building, trustworthy relationship, and that is the currency on which I think we can build on that optimism, which Friedrich said was his main skill. Now, shared responsibility is my issue. I strongly believe that the systemic changes that we're facing, AI, are changes for the better. They are game changers, we all know that. But if we handle it wisely, it will give us the opportunity to make a better world. And why is that? Because I think it forces us to be humans, to really focus on our humanness. That means more dialogue, more reflection on who we really are and what our real virtues are, and the intergenerational dialogue on an eyesight. I know you're all very eager. You feel that things are changing, and not everyone in the older generation is listening to you. We are trying to change that with you. One example that I can give, and I think we have some representatives here, are the competitions, the skills competitions, the World Skills, which will take place in Shanghai this year, and the Euro Skills, which will take place in Germany next year. And one issue that we really try to address is to talk with you, really get into the discussion and make things change quicker than they have been in the past. If you're not in Germany, if you're not living in Europe, I just invite you to have a look around. There's a lot of German representations, the Goethe Institutes, the AHKs. Get into this discussion, and I promise you that your voices are taken seriously. Germany is a reliable and credible partner in the UN network, and we are trying to work very strongly with UNESCO. I thank all the organizers of the World Youth Skills Day for their efforts. I wish you, all participants, good luck, good talks, and great ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diehl, for the opening words. And now to conclude our opening segment, we are delighted to hear from a youth representative from Kenya, and this is Grace Samba, and she will deliver opening remarks on behalf of the youth, and thereafter read out the message from His Excellency Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres. So excited to hear from you, Grace.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone from wherever in the world you're joining us from. Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues from UNESCO-UNEVOC, government representatives, educators, employers, development partners, youth networks, and most importantly, the young people in the room and online. It is a true honor to open today's session on this globally significant day. Every year, World Youth Skills Day gives us a moment to pause and ask a deceptively simple question: what does it actually take for a young person to thrive? So this year, that question feels more urgent than ever, because the ground beneath young people's feet is shifting fast. Artificial intelligence is rewriting entire professions. The green transition is creating industries that didn't exist a decade ago, and our societies are becoming more complex. So more interconnected and at times more divided. Young people are being asked to navigate all these, often without a map. Today's theme, Skills for a Shared Future, is not just a slogan, it is a call to action. The truth is, technical know-how alone will not be enough. And this is to say that yes, young people need digital fluency, and yes, they need to understand AI and green skills and the tools of tomorrow's economy. But they also need something technology cannot replicate: So empathy, adaptability, critical thinking, the ability to collaborate across differences, and the civic courage to participate meaningfully in their communities. This is precisely why TVET, technical and vocational education and training, sits at the heart of tomorrow's conversation, sits at the heart of today's conversation. TVET is not just about preparing workers, it is about preparing citizens, it is about economic competition, it is about peace, cohesion, and sustainable development. It is where technical mastery and human value meet. So I'd like to start this event by reading the message from the Secretary General of the United Nations. And I'm gonna start. So on the World Youth Skills Day, we celebrate the contributions of young people across the globe. As innovators, leaders, and agents of change, young people are seeking to build more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable communities and societies. It is vital that they gain the skills, training, and education they need and deserve. Our world is being dramatically reshaped by digital technologies, climate change, and growing economic uncertainty and inequality. As this year's theme reminds us, navigating these rapid changes calls for a new set of skills, from digital literacy to artificial intelligence, communication, and critical thinking. Unlocking the full potential of young generations requires massive investment in inclusive quality education and training. Closing the skills gap can help create decent jobs and sustainable livelihood at scale. On this World Youth Skills Day, let's commit to equipping young people with the competences our changing world requires, so they can help build a better tomorrow for all. Thank you to our Secretary General for this message. And over the next couple of hours, we'll hear from different perspectives, challenge some assumptions, and hopefully leave fewer easy answers and better questions. So on behalf of UNESCO and UNEVOC, welcome, and thank you for being here in person, online, and in spirit. And let's make today count for the young people this conversation is really about. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace, and thank you also, Borhene and Oliver, for setting the scene so powerfully right in the beginning. And we're 22 minutes in, already a lot of new insights. So we've heard about why skills matter, but what do young people themselves believe about the future? To answer that question, UNESCO-UNEVOC recently conducted a global youth survey, gathering perspectives from thousands of young people across more than 100 countries. And now let's explore what they told us. It is my pleasure to introduce Nurit Davidovich, World Skills Champion from Austria, who will present the key findings from the Youth Future Skills Survey. Nurit, let's go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nurit Davidovich from Austria, as said, World Skills Champion Trust representative for Europe. And it's an honor to present to all of you the results of the survey, Skills for Shared Future. This presentation that I'm now doing includes the key results. So please keep in mind, everyone who is interested deeper in the details of the data can access the results later on. This is a 10-minute summary. So if you're missing something while I'm talking, just check the data afterwards. So this World Youth Skills Day, to begin. Wait, sorry. Yes. So let's talk first who actually completed this survey. So within a couple of weeks, we had about 11,513 responses from around 80 countries, and 91% of them pursued studies or training. And from these people, the majority that we reached were 19 to 24 years old. And looking at the education, or the highest level of education that the people completed, the highest was secondary education that the people completed, followed by bachelor degrees, while only about 8% of the participants, actually their highest level of education was technical and vocational diplomas. And furthermore, if we look into the fields, the survey heavily reached young people that are in the engineering and manufacturing and construction field. And secondly, from the education field. So we need to keep this in mind when we look at the answers. Who are we even talking to? Like, this is a representation from mostly people who are in the engineering manufacturing field and in the education field, but also many other fields, but they are underrepresented in comparison to the engineering, manufacturing and construction and education field. And although they are from fields like engineering and education, only 32% really say that they think their last education is very relevant for the current job market. And I think it's a very interesting insight. Although they are from fields like that, only 32% say they think they are very relevant. But at least 60% say they are somewhat relevant. But what we have to look at, almost 10%, like 8%, are saying their skills are not relevant at all for the job market. And even though it may sound like a small number, 8%, it's not small if we look at the future of us young people. And if you look, as already said in the introduction, technical and occupational skills are very important for the future and also for our current present. And the participants, the 11,000 young people, think their biggest gap are technical and occupational skills. So people really want to learn it, but they currently are not learning it or are missing the opportunity to learn it. Followed by AI literacy and communication and collaboration. And if we look at the topic green jobs, we young people are really confident that green jobs are the future. The average rating is 3.94, with the majority saying they are level 4 confident in green jobs. So we are hoping that with the green transition and with working for a greener future, that this also results in greener jobs or in green jobs. And going deeper into the skills that we think that human needs to be future-proof, if we're looking at all these changes coming at us, it's creativity and original thinking. And this survey, this also resonates with what you all said in the Mentimeter. I think creativity was one of the highest results after empathy. And also here, empathy is the top 3 result in the survey. Before, the second most response was complex problem solving and critical thinking. So these 3 top results are actually like almost 1-to-1 from what you now live said in the Mentimeter. And now, as we also heard, there is a lot of concerns and a lot of changes that coming in front of us are actually already happening to us. And looking at this, our biggest concern, looking at the about 11,000 response, is environmental sustainability and climate change. So this is really an issue that concerns young people because it is our present, it is our future, how we deal with the world, and this also results in the survey. But also artificial intelligence disruption and crime and safety also is concerning us. I think there is a lot of concerns. But although, like, if we look at gender distribution, actually almost everything, every concern is distributed almost equally, besides mental health. In the results, women and girls were more concerned about the mental health than what men and boys responded. Just a moment, sorry, it's not going to the next slide. Okay. Now, so another barriers, if we ask people, okay, now, sorry. So the biggest barriers that youth are facing is actually a money problem. So most people think that the cost of courses, training or qualification is the biggest barrier that they face when they try to access quality skills development. And if money is not the biggest issue, then the next issue is that there are lack of work-based training opportunities. So either you don't have the money for training or you don't have the opportunity to even train, followed by the other barriers. I think my laptop has a bit of the delay with the slides. I hope I will be patient, then hopefully you will be patient too. Yes. Okay, so looking at the regions, interestingly, no matter where you live, no matter what country you're from, the biggest concern and the biggest barrier is the cost of the courses. So it doesn't matter if you're from Asia and the Pacific, Africa, or other regions like Europe and the Americas, the biggest concern is the cost. But what's interestingly, that if we look at Africa, what's different to the other regions of the world, there are more percentage-wise people that are worried about or that have barriers, including poor internet access or device access, and also lack of employer recognition. So this stands out in comparison to the other regions. So in Africa, there should be more like a focus on the internet access problem in comparison to other regions. Okay. And if young people were asked what group were facing the biggest barriers, most responded that youth in rural and remote areas have the biggest barriers accessing quality skills development. But also other groups of people, like people from low income families, young women and girls, and young people with disabilities face barriers. And if we look at these barriers, we always have to think about the intersectionality of it. So as an example, a young woman who also lives in a rural area and has a disability faces even more challenges trying to access quality skills development. And as a little bit of an example to all these data and numbers, what are actually reasons for exclusion from quality skills training? I just want to read out an example of a youth participant. It's so expensive, and if I wanted to do it without a class or a certificate and I already learned it from books, the internet, etc., I'm not qualified yet, and that is discriminating. Or in my case, a lot of the programs I managed to get into because of my skills and effort, I can't afford them, and sometimes even with scholarships. So it really is an example of the financial issue. And when we now ask, what should we do better? What should everyone do better for the youth? The single most important thing that they pointed out, they chose, for example, make all learning more practical and work-based, followed by update curricula to include digital skills and AI, and then remove cost and access barriers so all young people can participate. And when we ask young people, what are we actually doing outside of school? There's actually a big portion of us that do a lot of volunteering, community service, cultural programs, and exchange programs. There are a percentage of people that do none of the above, So to all of you who are either in volunteering, community service, cultural programs, or exchange programs, maybe you can motivate your peers who are not doing anything of this to engage with the world outside of school. And when we ask young people, what can we actually contribute to a peaceful society? I again read out one example. Be social, well educated, education and spreading awareness, keep environment clean, promote inclusivity and dialogue. And now about the hopes. As said, there are a lot of barriers and worries, but still almost a half is cautiously hopeful. So not everything is doomed. About the half is cautiously hopeful. But still, only 15% are very optimistic, but it's still more than the about 7% who are very pessimistic. So in average, I would say the youth is a bit more helpful than pessimistic. And now again, hopefully here in the webinar, a lot of policymakers, global leaders, and the educators are listening to the survey right now with all their attention. So as an example of what youth actually wants you to do not prepare us for the world that existed before. Empower us with the skills, opportunities, and voice to shape the world we are inheriting. This is one of the examples what youth wants you to hear. So, in a nutshell, we have about 11,000 youth participants in the survey, and they want more technical and occupational skills training. They are facing barriers like costs of the courses and lack of opportunities. And while focusing on human skills, creativity and original thinking was the most important skill that you've decided that is important. And for the future, do not prepare us for the world that existed before, empower us with the skills, opportunities, and voice to shape the world we are inheriting. Now, as a disclaimer, this is the opinion of 11,513 youth participants. This is not the opinion from UNEVOC UNESCO. This is the voice of the youth. And always use data with caution. The survey is to inform all of you. It is not replacing policy analysis, and 11,000 youth from the world doesn't automatically represent all the young people in your country specifically. I'm Nurit Davidovich from Austria, World Skills International Champions Trust for Europe. I thank you for listening, and I give the floor to the next person.
Thank you, Nurit. I think it's very impressive how many people, I mean, really shows how relevant this topic is. 11,513 people, I think you said, filled out the survey. And it's easy to forget that those findings actually remind us that behind every statistic is a young person with aspirations and concerns and ideas about the future. And our next short video captures some of those voices from around the world.
Public speaking is giving a megaphone to your brains because half knowledge, talent, or great ideas is not enough if no one has them.
To secure this work and participate fully in the economy of the future, young people need more than technical skills. They need analytical thinking to solve complex challenges, curiosity and lifelong learning to continuously grow, resilience to navigate uncertainty, and technological literacy to adapt and thrive in a rapidly evolving world.
So I believe that digital literacy and adaptability are two skills that are needed for the future and needed to boost economic development. So they need to be able to explore emerging technological trends and convert those trends to be able to help boost economic development.
For me, empathy and collaboration is when we actively listen each other and try to bridge language barriers, where we can truly create an inclusive space where everyone feels heard.
Una habilidad que me ha marcado en mi vida es la empatía. Escuchar a los demás, comprender sus historias y apoyarles me ha enseñado que los cambios más grandes comienzan con pequeños actos de bondad.
The world is changing fast, and along with digital skills, young people need communication, teamwork, creativity, and the confidence to try new things. They learn from each other, they share ideas, solve problems together, and grow as a team.
Communication is meaningless if you cannot understand someone's pain. Empathy is futile if you cannot express that pain to someone.
The ultimate future skill is knowing how to fuse digital innovation with environmental awareness. When young people learn to build software for tree conservation, smart agriculture, or risk detection, we aren't just adapting to the changing climate, we are actively engineering a green transition.
In my own field of housekeeping, skills make a real difference. We learn how to reduce water and electrical use, properly store and manage waste, and reduce single-use plastics. These small actions help protect the environment while keeping spaces clean, safe, and healthy.
My perspective as an agriculture student is that skills training gives us tools to turn ideas into actions, in that when we learned about the modern sustainable farming techniques, such as climate-smart agriculture, organic soil management, and renewable energy use in farming, we can reduce on the emissions, protect biodiversity, improve productivity without harming our environment.
Thank you so much for those voices, and I believe everyone is actually taking notes and trying to really get engaged in this conversation. My name is Priscilla Gatoni. I'm going to be leading in the next dialogue. This is the Youth Dialogue. So we've heard about the voices of young people from all over the world. We're going to still have more, and we're sharing this on YouTube as well. And at the same time, we've had voices of the young people through the survey. So the next dialogue, we're just going to hear more voices from young people who are here with us today to lead us and to tell us what they care about the future. So when we talk about skills for a shared future, we're looking at technology changes. We're looking at greening in Tibet and other areas in the world. We're looking at skills for the human to develop peace and global citizenship. But how does it look? We're going to look at scenarios in which we can explore, looking at the three pillars that were mentioned initially about AI and greening. We look at human skills, and we look at youth voices. What is the part that young people need to lead? So to help us understand this, I'm very pleased to introduce the group that is going to lead, and I would like to ask them to have 30 seconds to introduce yourself. Tell us what your name is, which country you come from, and what you involve yourself in. So quickly, let's have the young people who are in this dialogue highlighted, and we can already get started with Jean Tada. Please introduce yourself in 30 seconds.
All right, so hello, this is Jean Tada from Japan. I'm the global lead for the Water Street Cares Collective in Japan. And we also taking some initiative for the water conservation and also youth-led initiative operating alongside other East Asian countries under the framework of some UN Ocean Decade actions. We've collected some data with prioritizing to some citizen actions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Precious, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Precious Azon. I'm from Nigeria. I lead Bankable Wisdom and EdTech that have reached over 75,000 Africans from over 30 African countries. My skill is social cohesion, and I'm into community building. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Anne, you want to go next?
Hello, everyone. My name is Phạm Nguyễn Đức Anh, joining all the way from Vietnam. I serve as an education facilitator with Aspire, which is an NGO where we support orphans and children in institutional care. So my mission is to integrate STEM with social-emotional learning to build digital literacy and emotional resilience in underserved youth. empowering them to actively shape their own destiny in this fast-changing world. And it's a privilege to be here today.
Fantastic. Juan Camilo?
So, hello everyone. I am Juan Camilo from Colombia. I'm an economist by training, and I have dedicated almost my entire professional career to education policy and the use of data and evidence to inform policy making. I've worked with several organizations, including my own venture, helping education systems to build stronger foundational and social-emotional skills. And right now, I'm an intern at UNESCO-UNEVOC, the organization doing this webinar, and I'm doing it as part of my master's in public administration and international development at Harvard Kennedy School. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Juan. Aya, you want to go next?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Aya. I'm a math and STEM educator. Currently, I'm an AI researcher in education and math. Also, I'm SDG advocate based in UAE with over 13 years of experience in schools and higher education. I also integrate the AI and digital innovations throughout my teaching and curriculum designing. I'm an instructor in higher education, and I have been involved in many AI initiatives in education. And also I've finished more than 400 hours volunteering with the UN, UNESCO, and UNICEF, SDG, and for especially the SDG for advocate and equality education. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Aya. Didi? Sorry, we can't hear you, Didi. Not yet. Maybe as Didi sorts that, maybe Boris, quickly, in 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure. So you already heard from me. My name is Boris. I'm from Germany. I've done quite some stuff in finance and consulting and in public affairs, and I spent over 3 or 4 years in a network called the Junior Enterprise Network, which is about SDG number 4, quality education, about bridging the gap between academics and practice, providing business opportunities for students. So that's what I've been doing for quite a long time, and that's the reason I'm passionate about youth entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. And Didi, let's see if it works. Still no audio. Maybe we'll circle back to you. So I believe we have so many young people who are joining us here, and I want to take this opportunity to invite everybody to go back to your survey. There's a link that we had shared earlier, the Mentimeter link, and that introduces us to this dialogue because we want to have the voices of everyone who is joining. So the first question that addresses the issue is, if AI can perform technical skills better than people, it's a waste of time for students to learn them. So strongly disagree or strongly agree. You can shape, we want to see how this looks like. If AI can perform technical skills better than people, it's a waste of time for students to learn them. What is your thought? Please go in. Let's see what the global community thinks. I see it's dangling closer to strongly disagree. Yes, maybe 2 more seconds. Okay, I see a lot of people strongly disagree. So basically, there's consensus on that. So maybe to help us understand, I'm very curious what you think. Let's start with you, Juan Camilo. What do you think about this? Do you strongly agree or disagree, and why?
Well, I think I'm in the same place as the webinar participants. I disagree with the statement. My view is that learning a technical skill is not about getting the task done. It's more about understanding how the task should be done. So I think this is what gives you judgment to know when the result is right, to catch mistakes, and to know when you should trust the tool or question the tool. So if you never learn the skill, if you never took the time to actually learn the skill, you cannot supervise it. You just accept whatever comes out of it. So a personal example, I work with data analysis using statistics and programming, and AI has become genuinely good at it. It writes code faster than I do, and it often solves problems in ways I did not expect. But when I use it, I'm not a passive user because I know the methods, because I have received the proper training. I can tell when it picks an approach that's not actually fits the problem at hand or the actual nature of the data, or when the code runs perfectly but answers a different question than the one I prompted. So the point here is that the code running is not the same as the analysis done right. So my training is precisely what allows me to use AI effectively. So without that background, I would just accept whatever comes out of it. So the question, I don't think, is whether AI can do technical skills better than us, because it often does. The question is whether we can still tell when the work is right. And for that, learning the skill is not a waste of time. It's exactly what makes AI useful in our hands.
Thank you so much, Juan, for giving those examples. I wonder what Aya has to say, especially with your work in STEM and girls. What is your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I'm totally agree with Juan that we need to focus on the progress of applying the technical skills. From my experience as a STEM educator, I've noticed that the most successful students are always don't start with the AI. They always start with the real problems, and they are using the AI tools in an efficient way. So the AI should be reviewed as a tool, address a meaningful challenges, not as the goal itself. And also, I've seen many students are using the AI and personalizing their learning, analyzing complex data sets, and supporting accessible for learners with the different needs, and also contributing and implementing their sustainable projects, which all of these practical applications where AI created and creates value for also the society. And in the same time, they should be responsible by using the AI tools. And our role here as educators is to share the awareness about the ethics and the ways of using the AI in effective and correct way. And also the students need to be able to generate the correct and the recognize the limitation of the AI implementation in their own education and learning.
Fantastic. So we all agree that AI should be in use because we are already using it. But the big topic comes to the issue of ethics in AI. So maybe Anne, you can tell us, and Pham, you can tell us, what is your thoughts about the responsible use of AI and the ethical part of it?
Okay. Thank you, Priscilla. So in my daily work with marginalized Nigerian students in Vietnam, I would say most of them aren't being taught about AI at school, and they are not prepared for it at all. So let me share 3 insights from my observation from my work and what responsible use of AI would look like instead. So first of all, I would like to talk about academics. So I often observe a worrying trend where students starting to rely on AI fully as a task doer. They ask the AI to write their essays or solve their math homework because of the education. Our education is still somehow focusing on the right and the wrong answers. So when the AI takes away all the heavy brainstorming, the lifting, it takes away the most meaningful part of education, which is the active journey of seeking truth, finding, reading, fact-checking, criticizing, or even writing something about your own self. So when student can't even explain how they get the answer. So responsible use would look like the opposite. Before an AI-assisted answer counts as done, a student should be able to explain and defend their own words, why they come up with that response, that answer, and the journey matters more than just the answer. And secondly, I would talk about the sense of self. So beyond academics, I see because the underserved children are insecure about their appearance. So I see them use AI to edit their photos to look more visually appealing before they post on social media. It would make them feel more confident to make new friends and even relationships that people pay attention to them and that matters. So at the end of the day, they are interacting with a plethora of AI-generated content without knowing, being aware what is real and what is fake. And that's risky because those fake photos can lead them to be scammed or deceived by strangers. So responsible use would be like you teaching digital literacy alongside AI use. You're knowing when a photo, a profile, or a message might not be what or who it claims to be. And last but not least is emotion. I want to talk about emotional support, which is also very important in this day and age. For marginalized youth, they don't feel safe in their living environment when they are surrounded by others, by adults who, use punishment or who don't trust them. So they don't have a strong support system of close friends or trusted adults. And I have students who tell me that they trust an AI chatbot more than any adult in their life. That worries me because it means they are losing interpersonal skills and they still cannot use AI independently or critically, but they are just replacing one dependency with another. So responsible use has to include real relationships. AI can support connections, but it can never replace true human connection. So all in all, it starts with a mindset shift, treating AI not as the answer generator, but as a thinking partner. And you always be careful about what personal confidential information you feed into the AI. So that's from my side.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that intervention. And I believe what you say resonates with a lot of people because I can see some reactions. But let's look at the other angle of greening because we're talking about the future is going to be AI and the future is also going to be greening. But sometimes people look at these two angles separately. So maybe if Jean Tan, you can give us some more insights on this. Why should we not look at AI and greening separately and look at them together? Why do you think?
Okay, so yes, because we also have to do some think about that. Now we also the AI is growing rapidly, and also some of the not only to the generate code, and that time we also have some of the we also some getting around for the AI, and also AI also run from us. It means that we also have some of the it's kind of some of the mirrors or peer learnings for the learning each of them and also developing each of them. So I guess the AI has a new possibilities for some looking to some making some transitions for actions to know about what's we gonna do it. Likewise, to some of the elementary schools in East Asia countries, also some of the personalized AI is getting some trend in the education field. For especially introduced into the junior high and high school, for each of the students get a dialogue with the specific personalized AI, and also get some talk to how they can develop their thinking and try to get a more deep diving onto their some of the theoretical knowledge for via co-working to the AI. So yes, we also have to think about some making some not some of the members will think about we need to separate, and some of the members think about we need to get together. But at least I want to say that we need to get some good distance for the two run for each of them. It's one of the best way to know about what's AI itself and how we develop this AI.
Absolutely. So that is good because you're mentioning that the key thing is to look at them together because they complement each other. So the greening transition as well as the AI, they can complement each other. But at the same time, we look for opportunities in which they can distinctively stand on its own. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next topic where we invite everyone again to tell us about where they stand on this topic. So the second question on the Mentimeter, if we can look at it, it says, being empathetic and a great communicator will get you hired faster in the next 5 years than having a degree in a high-tech field. Again, being empathetic and a great communicator will get you hired faster in the next 5 years than having a degree in a high-tech field. Do you strongly disagree or strongly agree? Let's see the interventions. Let's see if you're able to move. Do you agree or disagree? And I can see it's hovering closer to the middle. So there's a strong somewhat. People either agree or disagree. Yeah, I'm still waiting for a few more so that we can hear what the young people have to say about this topic. So being empathetic and a great communicator will get you hired faster in the next 5 years than having a degree in a high-tech field. So a lot of you strongly agree, but with a 3.1. So meaning it's closer to 2.5. So they strongly agree, yeah, but not very strong. So let's hear what young people have to say on this topic. So very curious. So for you, Precious, I know you have a lot of work that you're doing in Nigeria. What do you think about this topic? Precious.
Thank you, Priscilla, for that question. We have a lot of young people. The work I do with Bankable Wisdom, we see tech developers, people that can code, can design. They are used to remote work, but they cannot communicate. They don't have, their work culture don't show much of empathy. And so they have to dwell on team leaders to lead them. So someone that has a good communication skill and can communicate with empathy, we go more higher in terms of skill because the word, like, we are all human beings, and like your ability to communicate and show empathy makes people feel this sense of like you're a human, you're related to them. This is the problem with AI and the whole AI boom and all this stuff. We can outsource a lot of things, but when it comes to communicating with our team, making people feel human and loved, these are some skills that makes people like connect with you the most. And this is one of my most dominant skill too in terms of like leading a team of tech people around me, people that are used to remote working, they are used to sit down in one spot in just all night, all day, and then ability. And this is because, like the Gen Zs, we've had this experience of being around social media, being on our phones all day and night, and so we don't really do much of in-person communication. So it's a skill that we have to start honing down the most these days.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think you got cut off, but we got the message very clearly.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, you got a bit cut off, but we understood. I think we understood what you mean, that you can be very technical, but you're not able to express yourself and you're not able to interact with people. So it's important to harness those skills as well. So maybe Didi, you have a different view, or you agree with what Precious says?
So first, I want to also introduce myself because I
Yes,
could
please,
not
yeah.
get cut off. So I'm a youth worker in the YMCA movement, and I'm also project assistant for YMCA Europe in the communication and partnerships. Through my role, I connect young people's realities, which happen on the ground, with the wider opportunities across Europe. I'm based in Romania, and I would say that here schools spend too much time on memorizing information and not enough on adaptability. I feel like memorizing is still important, of course. You need to have a base knowledge, but today young people can find facts really easily online. With the skills they need is to be adaptable, to adjust, to think for themselves, and to deal with new situations. And this is something we do in YMCA non-formal education settings. I see it all the time. Young people learn by doing. When they take part in volunteering, in community projects, event planning, they have to adapt. They have to adapt to different people, to unexpected problems, changing plans, your mic not working in a meeting. So I feel like to that process, they also learn communications, teamwork, problem solving. But the main skill that connects many of these things is adaptability. And that's why I think it's one of the most important skills young people need today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Didi. And I wonder where all this plays if you're an entrepreneur, someone who wants to become an entrepreneur already practicing. Where does this conversation lie, especially for empathetic and great communicators? Maybe Boris, you can tell us about your work on advocacy on entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I think nowadays entrepreneurship is not anymore a nice to have, but it's one of the most necessary skills. And that doesn't mean that you have to start your own company, not at all. Because entrepreneurship, it's not about that. It's a way of thinking. It's about taking initiative. It's about seeing opportunities and then taking them. And I had the privilege, I mentioned that earlier, I worked for many years as a volunteer in the Junior Enterprise Network. So a network all over Europe with over 36,000 students that work in student organizations that provide services to companies, and therefore they learn a lot of entrepreneurial skills already during their university, and these are the kind of these skills about taking action and about actually thinking beyond what is just given to you. These are the skills that I learned in my junior enterprise and not in university. And by now, that's really a necessity. I can see it when I'm doing internships and I'm working with people who come from my network versus people who don't come from my network. So people who have had some kind of entrepreneurial education versus those they didn't. Those that were in the network or that have had some kind of entrepreneurial education, when they get a task, let's say from their boss in their job, their first impulse is not, okay, let's just do it, but they challenge it and they say, okay, does this really make sense in my opinion? Maybe I can twist around something, so maybe I can do it and maybe I can do it in another way, or maybe once I'm done with this task, I directly suggest to my, let's say, boss, 5 other things that can be done as a follow-up based on what I just did. And this is what I mean with entrepreneurial mindset. And this is why entrepreneurial education is necessary, even if you never start a business, even if you just want to get a good job in some company, you always have to, especially nowadays with AI that can handle most operational tasks, you always have to think ahead and think about what can be done next, what can be done differently. Does this make sense in the big scope of things? And that is why I think that entrepreneurship it's not about starting a business, but it's a way of thinking.
Absolutely. It's a mindset and it allows you to be very resilient. Thank you so much for that intervention. I'm also very curious about the next question that we're going to address with everyone again. And this is about the current situation that we are in. We have seen a lot of polarization in the world. There's a lot of crisis that is currently happening in the world, but young people have a role to play. You have a role to play as a leader. You have a role to play as a teacher, etc. So the next question I'm very curious to know is, in which real decision-making rooms are young people actually sitting right now to influence change? So where are you as young people sitting to influence change? This is a tough one, yeah? Okay, someone said none, someone said COP, education settings, student council, where can you influence change as a young person? So these are examples that more people can relate to, and they can come back and say, oh, I can be in COP for me to have some change. I can be a youth committee in family business. We're seeing social media in communities, stakeholder meeting and publications, academic research. Yeah. Just in one word or two. So tell us where your decision making, which rooms are you in that allow you to influence change? And maybe we can come to that question and have Juan, maybe you can give us a little bit of examples of where you've been able to effect change. Which rooms were these, and should young people also try to join these rooms? Yeah.
Of course. So for me, I think the room has always been education. I'm passionate about education and education policy and analysis. And as I mentioned before, I use data and evidence to support organizations. I had the opportunities to support governments at the local and the national level to design, implement, but also evaluate these initiatives that they have, but also support them on thinking how they can structure better their systems and how they can manage better schools. So I've done this for my home country most of my career, but more recently I also had the opportunity to work in Somalia, in Africa. So to give you specific examples of what I have done, I evaluated one of the Colombia's first social-emotional learning programs for primary schools. So we could learn from the implementation and we could further scale it up at the national level. I also led the creation of a tool to measure these skills in school settings, which today reaches over 1 million students, supporting teachers in their teaching practices. And in Somalia, I did analytical work to support the reconstruction of the education system after decades of civil war. And I think the change I've been pushing from inside those rooms the whole time is a very specific one. It is making sure that education systems focus on building foundational and social-emotional skills. I really insist on these two skills or set of skills because they are the cornerstone for any further skill development. So a young person needs to know how to read, needs numeracy skills to build any skill that the future demands. And social-emotional skills like empathy, collaboration, self-awareness are not only what the labor market is increasingly demanding, but they also are what makes a more cohesive and peaceful society possible. So that is the space what I've been working on. I'm passionate about it. I aspire to keep working on it towards a shared future.
Okay, thank you for that. Maybe we can hear from Precious and Aya as well. Very briefly, which rooms are you sitting in where you influence change and you would advise other young people to also sit in? Let's hear from you, Precious.
Hi, thank you, Priscilla. There are a lot of youth bodies. For me, I sit at the Chatham House youth conversation. I'm part of. I also advise for policy making in Chatham House. Every month there are some policies that have been like we dwell on climate change, the Sudan crisis, and other, and also at Bankable Wisdom, we gather young people together to advocate for youth policies that we want to make happen. And from my experience, the youths like I think one of the things that the youth should learn is that you should not wait for the door to be open to you. You can go knock at the door. You can create your own door. Because what we're experiencing in the world right now was created by other people, and then we can also gather amongst ourselves That is why I believe so much in social cohesion, community building, where you can come together as a group and you can agree about the change that you want to create, and you can collaborate and create this rapid movement across board. And this is why we need to see more young people across continents and countries coming together to agree on a common cause and doing these things without just waiting for someone to gather them together. Young people should take the lead in gathering themselves and approach policymakers like I'm doing currently at Bankable Wisdom across Africa right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I hope everyone is taking notes. Aya, which rooms?
Yeah. So throughout my experience with the students and international youth initiatives, I've seen that when the young are given opportunity to lead, whether if it's in STEM competitions, AI, or any educational forum, they don't just generate ideas, they influence how learning experience are designed for others. And to judge here or to give the conclusion, I believe we still need to move beyond consultation. So young people should not only be asked for their opinion after decisions are made, they should also be involved from the beginning as a partners in designing the educational policies and their own future. They also could be involved in AI strategies and innovation programs. And we should trust young with their own responsibilities and with exceed the experience and expectations.
Okay, okay. Let's hear which other rooms, maybe Anne Pham, and Boris, before we go to the last question. Anne Pham?
Yes. So at Aspire, I sit every day in the classroom with underserved, underrepresented youth. So our debate is not about education policy in theory, but it's about does this lesson for this age group actually build the skill that we will need, they can use and relevant for their life for the next 3 or 5 years. So that is a decision-making room that most people don't think as one. But every time we choose to teach, whether it's media literacy, it's AI literacy, or a specific competency, instead of another hour of broad memorization, we're giving a lot of consideration to trauma-informed practices, how to make students feel safe and comfortable first so that they can meaningfully connect with us and finally learn something new for themselves. And then the engagement styles, how to design learning activities that are engaging, inclusive, and learner-centric. So increasingly, we pulling students into that room with us. We ask them what they think is missing, actually changing the curriculum based on their feedback and answer. And we're building our curriculum based on our student input. So the change I'm driving is small in scale, but I think it's the right shift. Instead of adults designing education for young people and telling them what to do, we are co-designing with them. And that's the shift from being taught to being taught about the future to helping to build it.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Boris, briefly, which rooms are you sitting in that can influence
So I think
change?
I think on an individual level, there are always a bunch of consultations open where every young person can take part. And Friedrich mentioned earlier that UNESCO is currently doing consultation. I know that on the European level, for example, right now there's the consultation open for the EU youth strategy. So for the next strategy in Europe on how they want to engage with youth organizations, curriculums, and all these really relevant things for people our age, and everybody has the chance to take part in these consultations and write their opinions and to be heard. That is on an individual level. And on a group level, I think in most countries there's a wide variety of civil society organizations, of youth organizations where you can join and organize your voice and make it heard together through events, through round tables that where you can invite politicians to actually come and talk to you and share your expertise, your perspective, because that is youth. I can talk mostly about the European Union. It's a very underrepresented perspective, but politicians are willing to hear it because they know that it's the future. It's the future of competitiveness. It's the future of the economy. So they actually quite like to come and talk to you and listen to what you have to say. So these are the individual and group opportunities that I'm thinking of right now.
Okay, fantastic. I think that the message here is that there's so many rooms that young people can sit in, and you don't need to lock yourself in one room. You can shift from one room to the next. And this, we're talking about virtual rooms where you can have your voices heard. You can express about the skills for a shared future and what really you want to enhance as you go, as we move into the next years. So lastly, let's hear some quick advice, and I will ask Didi and maybe Jean Tan to tell us what advice would you have on how young people can actively work to create a more inclusive and peaceful world. What advice do you have?
So
Didi, maybe?
yes, I would say that it can start with the decision-making groups mentioned in the last question. But what I see in my YMCA work is that young people help build spaces when they feel included and when they are given real responsibilities. And if we don't look at peace as only the absence of conflict, but we see it as the presence of trust, the care, the fairness. And that's why in our community work activities, we try to involve young people in a way that respects their voice. And we create these safe spaces for them. Like this one you created here today for us, and for which I want to thank you for. In YMCA, we use a do no harm approach. It reminds us to be careful with our words, the methods, and the way we organize activities so nobody feels left out, exposed, and doesn't feel judged. And when young people learn and work in this kind of environments, they build the habit of peace. We can look at peace as a skill with cooperation, with respect for the differences we have, and the ability to also handle disagreements. And this is where grassroots work really matters. Changes do not only happen with big policies, they also happen when young people take action in their own communities, one step at a time from bottom to top.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Didi. Jean, Tada, your intervention?
Yes, I told that I will do the DD and also now from like the 2022, we also like maybe that we got some youth sectors has got a huge spotlight for some UN agencies like here for the UNESCO's or UNESCO's or any other UN agencies has a spotlight into the youth sectors for giving some opportunity for interventions and also the diving into some international decision making process. And now, so many of the members have started to working for making some collaboration to working to any other sectors. So what's the next? I like to say it's maybe we need to step forward for the local committees, and also that we need to transform as the main characters for the changing to some local societies. Likewise, some East Asian countries is also some facing to some culture background or social background, and still most of the youth could not overcome it. But for this trend and also for these situations, now we also can make it to think about the making some new waves for the transforming to the merging to the digitals, merging to some of the education tools, and also the initiating to the new curriculums for the adapting to the greening educations, digital educations, and also the AI educations. And that time, youth can it's time for the creating to the youth members can make the waves for some creation for the new type of the educational systems for now, and also with cooperating to some any other sectors. And that time, we also have to think about the making to the peace world. It's the most important thing is even some international decision making process to get a peace, but it's not over. Any other areas still has a huge problem and issues, and also it's caused by the different backgrounds. So youth can't address it for the local side, and where is your nearest place, and that's going to be making to the huge impact in the future with getting tied to the any other members. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The young people have spoken. And basically what we're saying is skills for a shared future. The future that is going to be shaped by technology, shaped by greening, shaped by globalization, requires the skills that allow young people to navigate uncertainty, to respond to crisis, as well as to engage constructively. And we have heard from young people, they have different rooms that they can operate in, and they have already spoken to you what they want you to do. And we are going to hear from a different group later who will be talking to us about how they're going to address these barriers that young people have actually identified. So allow me to thank all the brilliant panelists. Thank you so much for your intervention. And this is a representation from globally. Thank you, Juan, Precious, Aya, from Anne, Boris, Jean, and Didi. Thank you so much for this. And we really appreciate the work that you're doing as young people and coordinating the other young people to promote inclusive and peaceful societies. Thank you so much. Let's have a short video on more additional youth voices, and Boris will take over with the next session. Thank you so much.
For me, a shared future means unity in diversity.
A shared future means empowering, protecting together.
A shared future means valuing real expertise.
A shared future means protecting tomorrow together.
A shared future means people, process, and purpose.
A shared future means shaping tomorrow together.
A shared future means skill sustainability together.
A shared future means health, hope, and humanity.
A shared future means skills and sustainability together.
A shared future is one that is collaborative, one that has strategic partnership, and one that has strong human capital.
A shared future means sustainable skill together.
A shared future means innovation, opportunity, and togetherness.
So when I think about shared future, I think about three words: understand despite differences.
Y para mí, un futuro compartido significa crecer juntos con esperanzas.
A bright future for me means justice, opportunity, and belonging.
A shared future means hope, unity, and responsibility.
A shared future means learning that builds tomorrow.
A shared future means growth through understanding.
A shared future means together for tomorrow.
Shared future means people, planet, progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I be highlighted? I'm not seeing myself yet.
You are spotlighted, Thomas.
I am. Okay, then it's just my screen. Well, then I won't see myself. So our youth panel just highlighted both the opportunities and the challenges that are facing the next generation. And now we want to take a bit of another perspective, and we want to ask, what will it take to equip every young person with the competencies that they need to thrive in a shared future? So this conversation brings together government, industry, higher education, international organizations, and youth leadership. So I'm excited to welcome Alfie Hamid, who's the head of Global Strategic Partnerships at Cisco Learning at NET ASET, Christine Howling, Executive Dean of GARD, Higher Colleges of Technology at the United Arab Emirates, Caroline, a youth representative, founder and CEO of the Women in STEAM Initiative, Kenya. Richa, Associate Project Officer, Youth Programs at the UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development. And last but not least, the Director General of the Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission in Sri Lanka, whose name I am honestly too scared of pronouncing. So maybe when you start, you can quickly say your name, so that I'll also know it for the next one. I'm not sure that I'll be able to handle it, but I'll do my best. And I would like to ask a warm-up question to each one of you. I would ask you to answer it in around 30 seconds, which is if you had to pick just one disruption, because we talked about many, but if you have to pick one that will completely reshape the global skills landscape by 2035, is it AI? Is it climate change, demographic change? Maybe it's something completely different that I'm not thinking about right now. And why? Maybe we can start with Alfie.
I would say working with AI agents.
Why?
It's because you have to have the skill to learn how to work with an agent to support your work so that your productivity can go up 5x or 20x.
Okay, thank you. Christine, what do you think?
I would say AI as well, but with a different perspective. It's become the catalyst for the importance of agility. So AI is transforming everything, but the ability to be able to move quickly with it and learn quickly and adapt, I think that's going to be the most important aspect.
Caroline?
I'd also go with AI, but with a different perspective, especially when it comes to AI being able to transform every sector, from the education sector, from health, from aviation. We see AI everywhere. I'd go with AI, and the fact that what we are doing at Women in STEM Initiative, we are also expanding the opportunity and for innovation and learning, and we are always using AI to enhance our productivity. Yeah.
Okay, and Dr. Lally?
Hi. Actually, I would choose artificial intelligence. AI will not only change which jobs exist, but also how almost every job is performed by 2035. The key challenge will not simply be replacing people with technology, but enabling people to work efficiently alongside AI. Therefore, our skill system must move faster from one-time qualification to continuous, flexible, and lifelong learning. The future belongs to people who can combine technical skill, human skills, and AI capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting that you're all more or less agreeing. I thought there would be more different answers, but that's sends quite a clear message to our audience. I think, Alfia, I'd like to deep dive with you a little bit more. Employers right now, I also know it from personal experience, to say graduates they lack the right skills, and educators say that tech moves too fast for curricula to keep up. And I would like you to how do you explain this disconnect?
But I think it's not really a disconnect. The challenge that we have is the agility of the way in the way we structure our curriculum. Right? Unfortunately, if we look at how education has come over the years, it's very rigid. Right? The curriculum structure itself is not agile in that it can change as quick as technology changes, as quick as the demand changes. So my advice, and this is what we've been doing as Cisco with governments across the world, right? Together with UNESCO. So we have global partnerships with UNESCO, is working with vocational training authorities to make the curriculum structure agile. And that whenever technology changes, they're able to incorporate that change into the curriculum. So yes, it will be a challenge with those education authorities who haven't been able to make the structure agile. So it will continue being a challenge. But you'll notice, for example, in the EU, they adapt extremely quick, right? Because they've made the structure agile. There's a close relationship between industry and those authorities responsible for vocational education. So they have them as advisors. They bring them in. So that relationship is there. There isn't that there isn't that break between what is required in industry and what is being done in school. I was criticized by formal education about 10, 15 years ago when I told that our education structure is prehistoric, right? They are like your dinosaurs. The whole reason for that is because they were not agile. You've got to adapt if you're going to meet the needs of industry.
And if I could go next, it's just to give a little bit of background about the higher colleges of technology. We're the largest applied higher education institute in the UAE. We've graduated over 80,000 students. We currently have about 25,000. And really we're preparing, and because we are 98% Emirati students, we're preparing the local population for the workforce. So we have very strong relationships with the government and with companies as well. It's not an option for us. We need to be agile. We need to be responding to the job market and the employer's needs. So like Alfie just mentioned as well, we have very strong connections with employers. We have the industry advisory committees for all of our divisions: health science, education, business, computer science, for example. And they regularly meet and give feedback on the curriculum and what are the new skills, what are the new areas that need to be updated. We also have continuous employer feedback to improve the programs, but we also co-deliver some of our programs as well. So we aim for about 20% of industry experts or adjuncts coming in and actually teaching part of our programs, as well as the co-delivery of the content. And then we have other initiatives like sabbaticals, for example. So this summer, there's a new program, the National Sabbatical Program, where companies are actually requesting faculty from different institutes, including HCT, to go in to see what the work environments are and get first-hand experience of the skills that the students need in order to be successful in the workplace. So it is moving very quickly. I think the soft skills that the students need maybe don't change as much. The communication is still really important. As the young people were saying before, the interpersonal skills are perhaps becoming more important because of how prolific AI and technology is. So those parts are still very, very relevant and becoming all the more relevant. And then the technical part, we are in communication constantly with employers and companies in order to be making sure that the graduates do progress with the right skills.
Thank you, Christine and Alfie. Before I move on, and I want to dive a bit deeper into this skills and labor market mismatch, I would just like to say to the audience, if you guys have questions towards the audience, please put them in the chat and we'll try to address them later. I have a few questions that I'm very curious about that I want to go through first, but we'll try to include yours in the end. So please feel free to use the chat for that. Alfie, Christine just mentioned already kind of more specific skills that one can develop to be also competitive in today's labor market. I was wondering what you think. What 2 or 3 capabilities do global tech employers already value most today? And we saw earlier in the survey, you remember there was this big problem of digital divide and like people coming from rural areas maybe do not have the same access to digital tools as we have in big cities. So how do you address that in talking about skills and labor market as well?
Okay, so when I look at Cisco and I look at other global tech companies, the top 3 capabilities to me, right at the top is AI fluency, right? This is where you need to be able to work with AI, not really using it to answer your day-to-day questions, but the ability to work with it as a fellow colleague, right? Use it as an agent that supports your work. So it's for a student, when you're talking about AI fluency, basically what we mean is knowing how to use it to increase your productivity and knowing how to use it responsibly, right? Knowing how to use and ask effective questions, the prompting that you put into AI. And importantly, then being able to evaluate those results that come out from the AI. Verifying that information is critical. because you need to make sure that whatever you put out there is valid, right? You must be able to protect any sensitive data that you have in your company when you're using the AI tool. And importantly, at all times, you must understand the ethical use of AI. Right? So when you're looking at AI, it's about how you can combine your human judgment with the capabilities of AI, and using all that to increase your productivity by 5 times or 20 times. The second one would be problem solving and adaptability skills. Right? When you work for a global organization, you realize that technology is changing, and it's changing extremely fast. You must be able to learn, you must be able to unlearn and relearn, and reskill and upskill. Those are going to be one of your strongest traits if you want to be successful in the long term. So basically, technical skills, if you look at it, are going to be constantly changing. Your ability to learn those new skills through your entire career is going to make you successful in those companies. The third would be collaboration communication. So in any modern technology company, a large technology company, most of the projects are working with teams where you've got to collaborate across teams. So it's become important for you to be able to have meaningful conversations. You must be able to take your ideas that are technical and communicate that to individuals who are non-technical. You must be able to work with diverse teams who come from different backgrounds, be able to communicate with them on a personal level, and be able to take your message over to them. It's important at the same time that you're able to use collaboration tools. So for example, this tool that we're using now, the Zoom tool, your company would have a similar tool. You must be able to use those collaboration tools to work together as a team. And importantly, you must be able to listen actively, right? Your colleagues are going to be talking. It's not like a test that you're writing where you learn the content and you answer a question. No. Your test is to listen actively and then provide solutions to after following that active listening. It's about creating those relationships in your workplace and demonstrating how you can be professional when you're working in a multidisciplinary team. So my key messages to you as students, the top 3, is being able to use AI effectively, solve problems as a group, and work well together as people. Now, coming to the digital divide. The digital divide, unfortunately, has been there for years since technology came in. Our biggest challenge has been, how do we make sure that those communities who are almost forgotten, right? The biggest challenge that we have is that majority of your top companies tend to go after where there's a good story. So there are certain countries that you find that are favorite countries. Because if you go there, you get you on the top of the news, right? Everyone knows about it. What we need to do as industry and what we need to do as a community, as UNESCO, is see how we can, yes, give those companies the limelight because they want those stories in the headlines. But at the same time, take those projects and go to those developing countries that need it. Go to countries like Rwanda, go to Sao Tome and Principe, which is a small island country no one knows about. Go to Sri Lanka, start helping Sri Lanka, right? How can we do that? So that it's not the bigger countries that are only getting the attention. At the same time, look at how you can go to also rural communities, deep rural communities. Because in deep rural communities, you don't have connectivity, right? You don't have access to technology. They, at the end of the day, are the ones who are going to be impacted the most. When you're looking at climate change, you're looking at green. Let's bring them also into this modern economy so that they can contribute to the prosperity that we all want in the future. How do we do that? So, for example, Cisco is partnering with UNESCO. Right? With UNESCO, we have this initiative called the Digital Skills for Vocational Education and Training, where we are working with these sort of not popular countries to help them review and rewrite the vocational education training curriculum. And we are supporting them because they are not the favorite countries that people go to, right? And UNESCO, it has that aim of supporting everyone. Now, what I would encourage is all other technology companies, bigger companies, to join this initiative. You are definitely going to get the glory, but you'll also be supporting those countries that are being left behind. How do we do that? We need to make sure that we also bring on board companies that provide connectivity, right? Your mobile operators. Yes, let's not worry about those 5G, all of those technologies. Your old technology that you're taking out from 5G areas, try and put that into your rural communities. You can get away with 3G, 4G. It's going to help them. Your cost is going to be lower, but you're going to be increasing your market share. So those are the ways in which I think we can help the digital divide. But my biggest concern, Boris, is that we are slowly getting into what is now becoming an AI divide, where those who know AI are running ahead, and those that are only getting to know about AI or afraid of AI are being left behind. So we need to find a way of taking everyone forward with this new AI. If not, you'll have the digital divide, which is going to be really grown, much bigger if we don't address the needs of AI. Thanks, Boris.
Thank you, Alfie. I mean, very interesting insights, and something that I'm also thinking quite a lot about in the past weeks. Christine, I want to hear from you on this, and especially, Alfie also mentioned the constant reskilling and upskilling, and I think to really do that effectively already during your education, the higher education institution needs some kind of connection to industry that can tell them, okay, this is currently what's happening on the market. And Christina, I wanted to ask you, what do you think an effective, agile industry academic partnership looks like in practice? How can that really be done?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I think we have several different systems in place, and having communication, continuous communication throughout the semester, at the end of the semester, specific periods, really helps to make sure that we're updating as we go along. The sabbaticals I mentioned with this new program, it's a new national program, and we are very, very lucky in the UAE, I will say. We have a lot, the government really invests in its people. And for example, there is a new initiative to train 80,000 government employees in AI in the next 2 years. We aim big, but an example of that, we've already received a lot of generative AI training programs. And so I think talking about the skills that our students need to develop, we need to embody those as educators. We need to be able to learn and keep up, retrain ourselves, so that we're able to connect with industry and with the students. And it also helps you empathize with students as well. As Alfie mentioned, the divide is becoming greater between those who are AI agile and maybe those who are not up to date or have the same opportunities for the training. And so when we upskill ourselves in the same way, it gives us empathy for the students who may also be experiencing that. And then, as I mentioned, the new sabbatical program, the teachers are going into the workplace. They are working with the employees. They're working, if there are students out there on apprenticeship, they're observing them in the workplace as well and getting feedback from them on maybe the skills that they think that they're lacking as well. So it's getting feedback from everybody, all the key stakeholders. So it's not just one voice that's coming down. And we feed those into the programs, into the design. The guest lecturers can come into the courses and actually deliver the lessons as well. So it is it's structured, but it's also very, very agile as well. We're open to new initiatives. And really the speed of development that's happened in the UAE, 50 years ago, really was like the beginnings of the establishment of education. And to get to where the UAE is now, it really is very agile, very quick to move and to transform. So having those systems in place, the industry advisory boards, having the guest lectures, having the sabbaticals, having those communication channels really does create a very strong partnership between companies and between HCT, as well as the apprenticeships that students go out into the workplace. And so they are learning and putting into practice what they learn in their first year. For example, with diploma. In business, they would have their first year with us, and they learn the theory plus doing some short work experience. The second year is primarily in the workplace with support from the college as well. There's a new program that we started this January with one of the large car companies, the automotive industries. And the students are out on site from Monday to Thursday, learning, getting trained by the actual company. And then they come into us on Friday for follow-up with language support, soft skill development. And then based on feedback that we are getting throughout the semester, we're able to then move and change the support that we offer at the college level so that it is meeting the needs of the company that they're working in the apprenticeship with.
Thank you for sharing. And now that we've talked a bit about the skills and the labor market and a lot about technology and AI, I want to move into something that we established very early on when we did the first Mentimeter. And you guys remember in the center, there was the word empathy, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. And the word empathy was the number one skill that our participants found relevant. And now, how can human skills like empathy and collaboration actually be taught and assessed institutionally, or are they learned elsewhere? And how do governments fund that equitably? And I'd like to direct the first question to Richa. Do you think that we can really assess empathy and collaboration in schools? And could you give a concrete example on how we could do that?
Yeah, sure, Boris. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so thanks for the question. But before that, because I'm speaking for the first time now in this panel, so I would also like to, thank you for inviting me to this important conversation on this special day, and also to UNESCO-UNEVOC for bringing all of us, from different parts of the world here to discuss the skills that are definitely increasingly becoming important for these young people. And one such skill is empathy, right? And you mentioned collaboration. I would also like to add, digital citizenship here, because that's also very important when we talk about, digital connection and, AI. So it's very important to know if this can be assessed. Thank you for the question. So I like the question. Before I get into answering this, so I would like to take a few seconds, maybe if we can all get together to acknowledge that when people hear the word assessment, right? So the immediately what we think of marks, we think of report cards, we think of exams, but when we talk about concepts like empathy, citizenship, I don't think the question is, can you give it a score, right? The real question is, can we actually see or observe whether younger people are able to learn these skills and then demonstrate these skills, these interpersonal skills in their day-to-day engagements. So this is what and how I look at these competences, not to give them a score, but rather to observe through their behavior whether they are demonstrating these skills in their conversations, in their engagement with people. And when we say that, so at UNESCO MGIP, I have worked with thousands of young people in school, in college, universities, in higher education space specifically, through our social emotional learning programs. So I would like to throw some light on the social emotional programs we deliver and we design for young people. So there are a number of online courses we have developed, and we try to deliver these learnings to these young people through different modalities, right? So in my experience, I mean, one thing that I have consistently observed while being there in those spaces, in those rooms where I facilitate, where I talk to these younger people, that the if we really are able to create right learning experiences, if we are able to identify the right modalities that work for young people, that speak to their realities, we can definitely have those meaningful observational changes over time, right? So for example, I would like to give an example from my own experience when I was in Bangladesh recently, and during one of the workshop, you know uh, we didn't ask students, are you empathetic? Because there was a session on empathy. And of course, we don't want any written statements, right? We don't want to ask, are you empathetic? Because the almost everybody will in the room will say yes. Why will they say no to something? They have this fear of being judged. Of course everybody will say yes, yes, we like to take care of people. We understand how they feel, what they do, we want to help them. So this is the immediate response we receive from those young people. So we don't ask these questions because that's not the real assessment. What we do instead, we put them in situations that require perspective taking. So we don't use these self-reporting questions. We try to design questionnaires where we put them in situations which are performance based, right? Which are scenario based. And so for example, imagine a discussion, and this is something I'm telling you from our own experience, how we design these experiences, create these learning experiences. So imagine a dialogue happening between two students in a classroom or in that session where they disagree on a sensitive social issue like gender or polarization or climate change. So here we don't try to assess who wins the argument in this dialogue, right? We are looking at the questions like, did they listen to each other? Could they acknowledge another perspective without becoming defensive, right? Were they able to disagree respectfully? Did they reflect on their own assumption after the dialogue? So these are the observable behaviors, and they tell us much more about empathy than any written definition ever could. So I remember one student sharing something that really stayed with me. She said, earlier, if someone disagreed with me online, I immediately assumed they were ignorant, like they are not good people, right? This is what sometimes we think when we get a bad comment or not very comfortable comment on our photo, on our post. Now that girl shared that now, after learning, after having these sessions, after learning from those scenarios, those experiences, I pause and I ask myself, what experiences these people who have commented must have had in their lives, who shaped their opinions, who made them make those comments, those nasty comments online. And this shift from reacting to reflecting is actually the real evidence of empathy building in anybody. So, and that's exactly the kind of change we are looking for in young people. So the same applies to digital citizenship as well. Today's young people are, of course, everybody's well aware, and we have been talking about it. They are where they are, digitally connected more than ever. But being digitally connected, being an expert in technology, of course they are much more expert than us, especially me, I would say, but it does not automatically give them a title of a responsible digital citizen, right? So most students already know, I acknowledge that most of them, they already know that they should not spread misinformation, or they should not bully each other or other people from different caste, culture, ethnicity. But the bigger question is, what do they actually do when they are scrolling through those feeds? Do they verify information before forwarding it? Do they call out hate speech respectfully? Do they think about the impact they might have on another person by engaging with such, conversations? Do they know when to step away from an unhealthy online interaction? These are the decisions they make every single day, and they are much better indicators when we talk about assessments than asking them to memorize a list of internet safety rules. So one of the approach we have used in MGIP in our media literacy program. So as I mentioned, we have a range of courses that talks about education related to SDG 4.7. So we have social emotional education for young people, we have global citizenship course, we have climate change course, and the other one is media literacy course, where we present them with real world digital dilemma. I'm just giving a concrete example where we actually present such dilemmas, such scenarios to them through our online or hybrid sessions. So for example, they receive a viral message that targets a particular community or contains misleading information. So instead of asking them whether it is true or false, we ask what would you do next and why. So after going through this scenario or after going through this misleading information, what will you do? Because that will be the real assessment of how they show or how much they have learned empathy, how much they have learned perspective taking, and how much they will be able to collaborate with others in a teamwork in international workspaces without judging. Rather, they take perspective from each other, right? They respect their culture and how and why a person is speaking in a different way from us. So their reasoning often tell us far more than the real answer, which just comes in yes or no, true or false. So I also think we need to give young people more credit here, to all these young people who have joined today listening to us. And they are not just subjects of assessment, rather they can be partner in it. And so for this we have found that reflective journals, peer feedback, collaborative projects, and digital portfolios and community engagement often show evidence of growth that traditional tests cannot capture. So sometimes the most meaningful evidence comes from a student's own reflection. For example, I realized I interrupted people less this month, or I stopped forwarding messages without checking the source. So these are the kind of questions we have to put those in those assessments, which actually are the right way of assessing such very emotionally bound concepts and skills, because not everybody is comfortable sharing those emotions with the outside world. So how do we manage to get those responses, those hidden responses outside? That's the art and the right way of assessing those people when it comes to these competencies. So yes, and I would also like to show some scientific evidences here, because this is not something which is coming from UNESCO MGIP, but if you look at the growing body of evidence and research that also says that across social emotional learning researches and studies, there is a consistent improvement, not only in empathy, relationship, or self-regulation or collaboration, but it also has a positive effect on their well-being in their academic outcomes. So definitely we have to nurture this, and we have to assess these competences in the right manner, so that we get the right answer. We just don't assume just by asking are you empathetic, or just by asking them a definition on empathy or definition on how do you define empathy. That's not the real test, that's not the real assessment. But as you said, as you asked, can we do it? Yes, we can do it. We have been doing it at MGIP in various contexts, and definitely this is the knowledge we also want to share with other organizations who are now considering incorporating these competences in their curriculum, in their workplaces where they want to train young people, because they are very much needed when it comes to collaboration and working with different culture, with different context, and different realities. So that's the answer from my side, and I would like to definitely share maybe, I don't know, details of courses when a chance later at some. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Appreciate the detailed insights. I would like to give or to ask Caroline. You founded the Women in STEAM initiative, and I'm curious from the ground level, what systematic barriers still block girls and young women from future-ready STEAM tracks?
All right, thank you so much, Boris, and happy World Youth Skills Day to everyone who is joining us today. Yeah, so my name is Caroline Nyaga, and I am the founder of Women in STEAM Initiative. We are based in Kenya, and I'll just give a short background of how and why I started Women in STEAM Initiative. So I come from a STEM teaching background with an experience of around 12 years in the education sector, especially in STEM. So I taught students in different public schools and private schools in Kenya, and then I joined the NGO world to become a teacher trainer. But my passion has always been in seeing how girls are included, especially when it comes to STEM. And that's how Women in STEM Initiative was born. So I founded this out of a passion because I realized that girls were being left out when it comes to taking up STEM courses and even being confident to express themselves in STEM career pathways. And in my class, in one of the schools, I had a mixture of boys and girls, and the girls were doing very poorly in my subjects, in biology, chemistry, and also in physics. And so I would have sessions where I mentor these girls and just talk to them about the need to be very positive on STEM. And so I realized that the more I talked to them and just equip them with skills and just give them confidence, the more they started doing really well in my subjects and also in physics and essentially in all the STEM subjects. And so I realized that this problem was not just in the school I was teaching, it was across the board, across different schools in Kenya. And that's basically how Women in STEM Initiative was born. So in this organization, we have different programs. We have programs all relating to just empowering girls and young women in STEM, both in the technical skills and also in the soft skills, because we are now in a new curriculum in Kenya, and we are also now trying to ensure that girls are not left behind. Apart from that, we've also been able to see a lot of challenges and barriers. And one of the greatest barriers we've seen as an organization, and also even with the new trends in the new curriculum, is access to resources. The resources are scarce. The equipment are very expensive when it comes to purchasing of STEM kits, because you want, at the end of the day, that these young girls and boys don't just see STEM as the normal physics, biology, chemistry, but we're also now trying to incorporate skills, communication, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking. And so apart from providing these technical skills, we realize that we have few resources, actually, even as an organization. And apart from that, we've also realized that gender stereotypes still exist in very many communities. Girls are not ready to take STEM, actually, apart from when you talk to them and tell them that STEM is for everyone and that they can still take up STEM, they are not ready. And that one now comes to the fact that we have very few female role models willing to empower these girls on to talk to them about the need to take up the STEM pathways. We also realize that we have financial barriers. Financial barriers in the sense that when you approach a school, let's say, for example, I want to go to a public school, and as an organization, I want to introduce our clubs to this school because we set up STEM clubs in the schools. The school is not ready to take up our initiative because the finances are not there. And when it comes to the finances, it means now that the parent has to pay some extra money to have these clubs running in the school, and the school is not ready. So the buck stops back at us as an organization to see how best can we ensure that this school that does not have the resources is still part of the program. So that's basically what we are doing at Women in STEM Initiative. We are ensuring inclusion in the sense that we are not leaving behind these schools in the rural regions, in the marginalized regions, in the urban slums that do not have the equipment, the STEM kits, and the robotics equipment. And we're ensuring that we are providing in every way possible. We are giving them a chance to also be able to take part in competitions, in different initiatives. And apart from that, we also have a program we call the Community Champions Program, where we have been able to train women. We are using women as pivotal points to ensure that they are able to act as change makers in the different communities. So we have been able to train these women through a 3-month mentorship course that empowers them to become confident and bold, to be representatives in their different communities, to go and spread the word about STEM, and also helping them to understand that STEM is not just for the Western world, that even in Kenya, even in Africa, we are able to also be partakers of whatever is happening in the 21st century by incorporating 21st century skills to the students in the underserved regions. So basically, irrespective of the problems or the barriers, we have been able to do so much. Yeah, as an organization, we also have what we call the STEM storytelling competition. This is a competition where we've been able to use to empower girls. Yeah, we are using girls especially because they are mostly left out when it comes to STEM career pathways. And so we have been able to use this competition as a way to help these young girls that despite the fact that you do not have the resources, you don't have the equipment, that you can still be able to talk STEM. So we are giving them a chance to be able to talk STEM through the STEM storytelling competition. And so we enable them to come up with different projects, and they come up with the solutions to the project. So we give them a chance to share with us their videos, and we just want to see how creative they are, how confident, and how they're able to communicate. And so through this, we've been able to get winners in the recent competition. We had winners from Nigeria, and we were able to award these young girls who came up with a very wonderful prototype that enables them to just see the outside world of how STEM is and how problem solving is all about. So yeah, so basically that's what we are doing, and the challenges are there, but using whatever resources we have as an organization, we've been able to empower over 3,000 girls and young women in STEM and in digital literacy skills in Kenya. Yeah, and we're hoping to also move across Africa, yeah, in the coming years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for the great work that you're doing. I think that connects very well to what Richard said before. Gave us the overview, and you added the this perspective for girls and how to empower them. I would like to end this panel with Dr. Lally. I would like to hear from you, from somebody who works on in the national public sector. How can a government balance funding, quality, and equity when market demands change overnight, as we've heard previously when we were talking about the skills and the labor market? Things are evolving so fast. So how do you keep up?
Thank you very much, moderator. Just as a representative of Sri Lanka, I am especially proud to speak on World Youth Skills Day today event, and especially this day has a special connection with my country because in 2014 Sri Lanka spared the initiative that led the United Nations General Assembly to declare 15 July as World Youth Skill Day. Therefore, Sri Lanka this day reflect our strong belief that investing in skill for young people is essential for employment, decent work, entrepreneurship, social inclusion, and sustainable development. The question, how can government balance funding, quality, and equity when market demand changes overnight? From Sri Lanka experience, I would say that government should not choose between these three priorities. We must address funding, quality, and equity together by building a flexible and responsive skill system. Plus, funding must be strategic and demand driven. No government has unlimited resources. Therefore, the key question is not only how much we spend, but where and how we invest. Public investment should respond to labor market demand, emerging technologies, national development priorities, and need of learners. At the same time, government cannot do everything alone. Industry must become a co-designer, co-deliverer, and co-investor in skill development. This allow limited public resource to use more effective while keeping training relevant to the change in world of work. The scope rapid change must never become an excuse to compromise quality. When market demand changes quickly, there is pressure to introduce new training programs quickly. But speed without quality can produce qualification that have little value to learners or employers. In Sri Lanka, the Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission, my organization, TVC, is the apex regulatory and quality assurance body for the TVET sector. Today, Sri Lanka has an extensive public and private training network. There are around 1,700 institutions, training centers network, and more than we have 7,000 approved courses across the country. The both NVQ and non-NVQ courses. Our responsibility is not only to expand access, but also to ensure that programs remain relevant, trainer are competent, assessment are credible, and qualification are trusted by both learners and employers. Therefore, quality assurance itself must become more agile with faster curriculum updating, stronger industry participation, digital system, and continuous use of labor market information. Thirdly, the equity requires multiple pathways, not one pathway for everyone. This is one of the most important lessons from Sri Lanka. Young people and workers have different educational backgrounds, financial circumstances, work experience, and learning needs. Therefore, a truly equitable skill system cannot have only one door. Through Sri Lanka National Vocational Qualification Framework NVQ system, TBC has created different avenue for people to gain skill and obtain national recognized qualification. These include competency-based training (CBT), enterprise-based training (EBT), recognition of prior learning (RPL), the mature candidate route, and flexible learning pathways. That means the micro credential, the framework. We are also developing micro credential to provide shorter and more flexible opportunities for upskilling and reskilling for the industry workers. In addition, the skill passport help we have introduced skill passport for all the anybody have obtained the NVQ qualification. They can obtain the the 1 year experience. They can obtain the skill passport too. The principle is simple. People should not exclude from the skill recognition simply because they did not follow the traditional classroom-based route. This is how we balance equity with equality by opening multiple pathways while maintaining national competency standard. However, the future requires more than technical skill alone. The theme of World Youth Skill Day 2026 is Skills for a Shared Future. Remind us that skills development is not only an individual investment. It is a collective and responsibility and foundation for shared prosperity, social cohesion, and sustainable development. Young people need technical skills, but they also need digital and AI competency, green skills, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, resilience, ethical judgment, and ability to learn continuously. AI may change how many tasks are performed, but human qualities such as empathy, creativity, ethical judgment, and collaboration will become even more important. Therefore, our TVT system should not prepare a young person only for the one job. We must prepare young people for multiple transition between job, occupation, technology sectors, and different stage of life. Especially, we should have trained for the multi-skill personnel. The showing world where market demand can change overnight. Government may not be able to predict every future jobs, but we can build a skill system that are flexible enough to respond, strong enough to protect quality, and inclusive enough to leave no one behind. For me, that is the real meaning of a skill for shared future. Our responsibility is not simply to train young people for jobs that exist today. It is to empower them with the skills, confidence, and value and opportunities to adapt to change, create new possibilities, contribute to their communities, and build a future that is more inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable for everyone. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Dr. Lally, and thank you for sharing and for being with us, and not only to you but to all the speakers. And really appreciate that you took the time. I think what sticks out for me is that in the end, bottom line, no single organization, no single government, no single international organization can solve these challenges alone. But it will take governments, industry, educators, communities, and most importantly here in this room, young people working together. And now, continuing to our next segment, we learn about current opportunities. Now, very practically, what's in it for you? About current opportunities that we can all benefit from to kickstart building our skills for our shared future. For that, I'm pleased to welcome Soledad Patiño Vilalba, Associate Project Officer at UNESCO. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and hello, everyone. Greetings from UNESCO headquarters, and happy World Youth Skills Day. So today's discussion have shown us that future-ready skills are much more than technical competencies. They include digital, AI, green, entrepreneurship, creativity, transversal skills, and of course, the human capabilities that allow young people to thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. But one message has emerged consistently throughout today's event. No institution can prepare young people for this future alone. Future-ready skills require partnerships. Partnerships between governments, as or panelists from the previous segments were just raising, education institutions, industry, development partners, and of course, young people themselves. That is precisely why UNESCO launched the Global Skills Academy mission 6 years ago on World Youth Skills Day. Today, as we celebrate its 6th anniversary, the GSA has become UNESCO's global partnership platform for expanding access to quality, future-ready learning opportunities. The GSA has already impacted 2.5 million learners, and together with our partners, we are working towards one shared ambition, empowering 10 million learners, in particular youth, by 2030, with skills for better employability and, of course, the capacity to face the future that we were discussing as well. Behind this mission, there is an extraordinary ecosystem of partners, including, of course, governments, civil society, international organizations, foundations. We leverage the UNEVOC network of tier institutions around the world and UNESCO networks, and of course, private sector leaders. Through the Global Skills Academy, learners can access opportunities in digital, green skills, mentoring and scholarship opportunities, entrepreneurship, and so much more. We will be sharing about the Global Skills Academy in the chat so you can have the time and take a look about what we are offering. Of course, these opportunities are very broad, and they are also delivered in different ways, through online learning, through hybrid learning, and through international programs. As I said, there's a lot to tell. Unfortunately, we don't have much time, but earlier we were hearing Alfie from Cisco, which is one of our long-standing partners, talking about one of the initiatives that we are advancing, particularly on digital skills. And there are so many more examples that we wish to share, but we need more time to do so. But in fact, there is one opportunity that we just launched, and we would like to take you and invite you to see how it looks like in practice. So for that, let's travel to China, where we are also celebrating World Youth Skills Day today.
Distinguished representatives of UNESCO members, global partners, dear young friends, good morning. I'm Sun Aiping, Executive Vice President of China Policy Group. It's my great honor to speak here, celebrating the World Youth Skills Day. This year's theme is Skills for a Shared Future. 1 year ago, at the same time, China Policy and the Global Skills Academy jointly launched the 100 Scholarship Initiative in Paris. Today, the first cohort of 35 young students from Africa, Latin America, and island states are studying in our campuses. This exemplifies today's theme. UNESCO has been striving to develop inclusive global vocational education for young people worldwide. This is also our shared goal. As the GSA operator in China, policy always focuses on helping young people to grow. Over the past year, we have worked closely with the GSA team to make sure the scholarship project moves forward steadily. The scholarship is an ongoing project. The 35 students currently with us just the beginning. We will offer scholarship chances for outstanding young people. For the students, the scholarship is far more than financial support. It opens new doors for their future. It also supports two key goals of the United 2030 SDG agenda: quality education and decent jobs. It also helps GSA achieve its goal of helping 10 million young people with skills. Today, we sincerely invite more partners from worldwide to join us by providing high-quality courses, training facilities, talent training services. Together, we will improve our full set of services, including training, internship, and job placement for all scholarship students. A single candle shines dimly, but joint efforts can light up the future of global youth. We will keep working hard to support youth development and build a shared future for them. Now, let's welcome our scholarship students to share their real learning experience in China.
Welcome to China!
Okay.
Hi.
你好。现在我在中国。Place.你好，中国。
Hello everyone, my name is Javier Farkason and I'm honored to be studying industrial robotics on this scholarship. The past few days have been exciting. The warm welcome and energy on the campus has been amazing. During this program, I am hoping to master automation skills and learn all I can about the Chinese language and culture. I also want to express my gratitude to the China POCY Group, UNESCO and CCT for this wonderful experience. My ultimate goal is to bring this experience back home and help grow the robotics industry in Jamaica.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the UNESCO and the China POCY Group for this opportunity that they have granted to us to travel from our various countries to this place. We are really grateful. I'm majoring in e-commerce and new media, and so far the experience in China has been great. I have learned a lot of about the Chinese culture, their food, their tradition, the language, and it's getting interesting. And my expectation is to learn more, and specifically for the e-commerce and the new media, I desire that by the time I come out of this place, I'll be a very professional media personnel to take professional pictures and do it to my best. So thank you once again, and I wish all of us the best.
Thank you very much. So what you have seen is just a glimpse of what we can achieve together with strong partnerships for skills development. So building on this, also UNESCO Global Skills Academy and the partners are now taking a next step through the Skills for the Future initiative. Let me invite you to watch a final video, very short one, and also I'm pleased to introduce you and give the floor to my colleague, Laura Aya.
The world is facing a critical skills gap, and quality education has never been more urgent. As technology transforms the world of work, millions of young people risk being left behind. Many organizations are stepping up with meaningful efforts to develop the skills of young people around the world. But by working collectively and strategically, we could achieve so much more. UNESCO Global Skills Academy, supported by KPMG International, have launched the Global Platform for Skills for the Future, a one-stop resource that brings together the large-scale efforts of the private sector, civil society, and youth to bridge the skills gap and empower the next generation. Sharing the latest data and global insights, the platform fosters collaboration, highlights gaps, tracks progress, and shares best practices, transforming individual efforts into collective impact to deliver quality education, lifelong learning opportunities, and future-ready skills for all. Get involved. Share your contribution. Showcase your skills initiative. And join a global community building youth skills for improved employability, economic empowerment, and resilience. Let's build the skills for the future together.
Thank you, Soledad. So as you have just seen, Skills for the Future is turning partnership into scale action and creating concrete learning opportunities for young people. As of today, we have 10 initiatives which have been registered with a collective commitment to equip 51 million young learners with new skills by 2030 across more than 190 countries. So that's a clear sign of the growing momentum behind this shared global effort. As you can see, digital and AI skills account for the largest share of these commitments, but transversal skills such as creativity or critical thinking, collaboration, for instance, are also highly essential for young people to succeed in a changing labor market. So in a nutshell, opportunities are available everywhere. So that's why I encourage you to scan the QR code here and to explore the learning opportunities that are available in your country or in your region. We invite you all to join and transform partnerships into opportunities and later opportunities into impact for millions of young people around the world. Lenny, we give you now the floor to present additional opportunities for young engagements that are available throughout the UNESCO and UNEVOC network. Many thanks.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much also for Soledad and for sharing with us the wonderful video. I'm absorbing a positive energy from the video and also from all of you participants who are still with us today. So my name is Lenny Martini from UNESCO-UNEVOC, and it is my truly pleasure to share with you an additional opportunities for young people to learn new skills, expand their networks, and make positive impact in their communities. So let me just quickly request remote control from Aldrich. I see already many questions about this in the Q&A, so thank you very much for your enthusiasm. And I do hope that this session can actually answer your questions and inspire you to act and register and learn immediately. Okay, now let us start with our annual UNESCO-UNEVOC Skills in Action photo competition. This competition invites photographers aged 18 and above to capture how TIFET is helping young people develop the skills they need for the future. You can see there are several categories. And youth, let your lens tell the story of how young people are shaping the future. We look forward to receiving your photos by the end of August. Next. Next slide, please, Aldrich. Yes. Next, I would like to mention again the courses offered by our colleagues at UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development, represented by Richa earlier in the panel. The courses are available through their online platform, Framerspace, which is accessible through this QR code. There are various courses for different age groups and also for teachers on the platform. So next, I would like to highlight again 3 of their courses here. Please, Aldrich. Yes, thank you. So there are social emotional education, knowledge to practice, and media literacy, fostering a cognitive emotional approach, and navigating climate information with media and information literacy. They are very relevant with the topics that we have discussed earlier. These courses help participants understand how media influence our thinking, recognize misinformation and hate speech, evaluate information critically, and create responsible digital content. In a world where information spreads rapidly online, these skills are becoming increasingly important for all young people. Please use the links to learn more and sign up for these courses. Next, Aldrich, I would like to encourage you to engage with UNESCO's broader youth initiatives. The UNESCO Youth Program provides a global platform for young people to participate in policy discussions, to share their perspectives, and to contribute shaping education and sustainable development agendas. The closest opportunity, which is in the next slide, is the call for applications for the second edition Youth for Peace UNESCO Intercultural Leadership Program. This is for youth between 25 and 40 years old. This year's topic is human connection and dialogue in the age of AI, which is very relevant with our topic today. Next slide is the other opportunity on education beyond 2030 youth survey and regional youth consultations. So through these initiatives, UNESCO is gathering the voices, experience, and aspirations of young people to help inform the future of education. These consultations offer an important opportunity for youth to influence global discussions on what education should look like after 2030, to ensure also that it remains inclusive, relevant, equitable, and responsive to the challenges. Please visit the link and put yourself and your voice in the room to shape the future. Next is beyond online learning. I will also like to encourage you to explore opportunities offered by YMCA, as mentioned by Didi in the youth panel earlier. Through local communities and international networks, the YMCA provides programs on leadership, volunteering, entrepreneurship, personal development, and community engagement. So, whatever your passion, there is likely a program that can help you develop your skills and connect with like minded young people. You can find their nearest location through the directory accessible from the QR code. Now, next, I would like to take your attention to Be Changemaker 2027. This is a global social entrepreneurship program that helps young people turn innovative ideas into solutions for social and environmental challenges. Beginning in 2027, the program will continue under the coordination of YMCA Europe in collaboration with UNESCO-UNEVOC and HP. Create even stronger links between global learning and local action. Please register through the links on the QR code to get the latest information on this competition. Next are another valuable avenue for engagement. This is YONGO, the official youth constituency of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. YONGO provides opportunities for young people to engage in international climate discussions, to participate in working groups, to contribute to policy recommendations, to build advocacy skills, and connect with a global network of youth climate leaders. I have here several initiatives from YONGO, which are included in the slides. Please go to next slide. Thank you. And then the next slides. Yes. All of these will be available for you on our World Youth Skills Day webpage so that you could visit their webpage and sign up directly after the event. Now the last slide, please. Now let me conclude with one simple message. Do not wait for opportunities to come to you. Seek them out and make the most of them. Every course you take, every competition you enter, and every project you join can open new doors and help you build the future you want. So I encourage you to continue learning, stay curious, take initiative, and start now. Thank you very much and happy World Youth Skills Day. I'm handing back the scene to Boris. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. Now we've come to the last segment of the day, unfortunately, but I think the good news is that we have gathered so much insights already to build future-ready competences for inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable societies. It is now my honor to invite our closing speakers, and please welcome Irv, who will now close the session.
Thank you very much, Boris. And as you said, we have heard so many insights from you, from partners, from communities, from videos as well, messages, and so many informations. It was an amazing day, and I think you appreciate all, and I hope you appreciate all the day and the session of today. My name is Hervé Marchand, just to correct the pronunciation, but no worries. And I'm very glad to intervene as a chief of the section at UNESCO headquarters in Paris for the closing. And unfortunately, we have delays, so I will try not to be too long. First point from my side is to raise about my skills. It was requested at the beginning. I would say from my side, it's humanity. I strongly believe that we have to work with humanity and for humanity, for the world, for youth, for global citizenship and peace in the member states. So I hope that's my wish, my skills, and my wish as well. Second, as I started, I want really to thank everyone who make this day and this celebration possible. It was very intensive, very meaningful insight from everyone. So big thanks to my colleagues, our colleagues at UNESCO-UNEVOC International Center in Bonn, my colleagues in Paris at the section for youth literacy and skills development, but also notably the moderators, speakers, the partners, and above all, you as young people, because you are the key, the key for the future, and you have inspired all in today's conversation. And we can see that many messages emerge, but if I have to retain one, I would say that we have learned that skill for a shared future required first a shared commitment, and it's very important because it's about partnership, it's about collaboration, and that means also that we have to think about future-ready skills that should combine not only strong technical and vocational competencies, but also these skills should be combined with digital and AI literacy, green skills, and what is unique is about human capabilities that the technology, and we talk a lot on this today, cannot replace. And this includes critical thinking, creativity, empathy, collaboration, and global citizenship, among others. So that's what we discuss extensively today, and a strong, insight from the young people themselves. So thanks for this. And it's also, I wanted to raise that it's important to note from the discussion that no single institution can deliver this very important agenda alone. So of course, and it's again about partnership, collaboration, the government, the educators, the employers, the development partners, the civil society, and the young people themselves have all to work together and play their key role in building more inclusive, responsive, and resilient skill system. And at UNESCO, we remain committed for this. As you have heard, it's particularly important this year because we celebrate the 6th anniversary of the Global Skills Academy. We want to fulfill the Skills for the Future platform, which try to capture all the commitment from partners. And we have heard that we are now at a commitment for 51 million beneficiaries in the world. And we will continue through efforts regarding the Global Skills Academy. We have reached almost 3 million beneficiaries today, but we have a strong commitment and ambition to reach 10 million learners by 2030. So let's work all together to make it happen and to reach the young people as with the relevant skills for the future. As time is very short, I won't add too much, but I want to now transit to the youth call to action because it's timely. We raise about the importance of youth. So let's hear about a world young champion to share about her journey, which is fully in line with the spirit of this year's theme, which is, as you know, about skills for a shared future. So without delay, I will give the floor to Mrs. Narmin Al-Morzouki, World Skills Champion from the United Arab Emirates, to deliver your closing youth call to action. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Narmin. I'm a World Skills Champions Trust representative for the MENA region, and I'm joining you today from the United Arab Emirates. Reflecting back on the skills question, my skill would be critical thinking. I think it's a vital skill to have, especially nowadays with the over-reliance on AI, especially when it comes to students. I think it's very important because critical thinking sets the foundation for self-awareness, and that's how we can make objective decisions and kind of think outside the box and come up with innovative solutions. Reflecting back on the sessions that we had today, when we talk about youth employment, we often speak in numbers, employment rates, economic growth, and productivity. And while those metrics matter, I believe behind every statistics is a passionate young person eager to contribute to society in any way that it can. And contributing means more than just getting your first job. It means having the chance to learn, to experiment, to fail, and to keep growing throughout your career and not just at your first job. It means being able to learn and to create value throughout our lives. And that lifelong learning has never been more important than it is today. As I mentioned, as AI is reshaping our future, we also have the responsibility collectively to ensure that no young person is being left behind. Whether someone grows up in a major city or in a rural area, it's very important that every young person has access to those digital skills, especially in the digital era that we are in today, and the tools and the different opportunities that will allow them to be active contributors to society and not just adapting to a new technology that has just emerged. This World Youth Skills Day, it was a reminder that every young person should and can have the chance to seize opportunities for the future. And a nation's greatest wealth is not measured by what it owns and the resources that it has, but by what its people are empowered to become. So it's very important to have a local impact as much as a global impact. And as we've seen from the sessions today, we were all learning from each other, from Germany to Sri Lanka, all the way. It's all a collective learning environment. And especially for this World Youth Skills Day, every young person should make a difference. And that's what I encourage all of you young people to do. Whether you take some time to volunteer or to mentor a student, start a local initiative, maybe with the Changemaker program, or use that technology to address a challenge that you personally care about, your contribution matters. And some of the most powerful change begins with just one person or you and your friends deciding to get involved to solve that challenge. And you'd be surprised by the impact that you could make and all the support that you will get after you take that first step. So be curious, be courageous, keep learning, and use your skills in service of others. The future needs your ideas, your energy, and your leadership. So take that first steps and help create a better shared future for us all. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's back to me to deliver the final remarks. And that has been it. We've had a great 2.5 or now almost 3 hours together. It's been an honor to moderate the sessions. Thank you to UNESCO for letting me do this. And now I think we're going to see one final video, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, we're done. Thank you very much, everybody.
Happy World Youth Skills Day! Yay!
Hi.
Happy World Youth Skills Day.
Happy World Youth Skills Day.
Happy World Youth Skills Day, and let's continue. There are other events. That's the start of another journey for all of us. Thank you.
Exactly. And we also invite everybody that in our webpage, there's another UN event. If we encourage you to join, that will be shown in New York. You can see it on our webpage, World Youth Skills Day page. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. Thank you
Fantastic
all.
webinar.
Thank you so
Very
much,
brilliant.
everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Mm.